How's it going, everyone? This is my Upwork profile, and as you can see, I have $30,000 worth of earnings just this year. And my main focus is on AI automation and then no-code software development. The sales process stuff is just kind of naturally developed and baked into those things here. But what I want to talk about is how I went from taking basic automation skills to having all these different gigs here with 5-star reviews, etc., etc. And now what I'm focusing on is making sure I capitalize on that by focusing on these sort of softwares, okay? If you've heard of these at all, you're in the tip of the spear. You know a lot, but you have to go and apply this stuff, right? You are already somewhat ahead of the curve when it comes to knowing about AI, but you have to use these things. And if you use these things, you guys could get some results like this, $30,000 in this year alone. And we're talking software projects upward to $7,000, $16,000, $8,000 lifetime. So that being said, what I want to do now is go over a basic MVP build, a minimum viable product. This is something practical that you can use to sell as its own thing, or to sell an even bigger, fuller development project, okay? And again, we're talking thousands of dollars here. So if you've been wanting to get away from the 9 to 5, have some extra side income, or just know that you need to have some AI skills in you, then this is a great place to start. I'm telling you, it's easier than it seems. Of course, there's gonna be some technical things, but I'll walk you through it. It's not scary at all. And here it is. Enjoy the breakdown. All right, this is going to be a quick build off of an idea that came to me today, off of a kind of couple of ideas coming together. And that's how they always do, right? It's like one conversation reminds you of another conversation, and then it reminds you of this note that you had back in 2020 or something like that. That's how it is for me. And today, what I was thinking of was a conversation about maintenance requests and revision requests, okay? So my first dollar ever online was with graphic design. And the part about any creative services is revisions, right? It's so subjective that there are so many revisions that, you know, if you want the customer to be happy, sometimes you kind of have to do them, but at the same time you have to kind of reel it in, or else you're extending the time at which you work, and then your project budget stays the same unless you're paid hourly. I've always been like project based for the most part, but that was something that I had to learn how to control. And even in my current business of automation, that is something that gets out of hand, right? So something that I want to build for me is a kind of Trello replica. If you guys know Trello, it's this over here. It's this set of columns, and then you have specific tasks or projects, and then you move them over from different things. It's like a pipeline manager at the end of the day. But the idea was for it to be very simplified and all that stuff. And as you can see, they've added in Slack, they've added in Gmail, they've added in Google Calendar and stuff, which is great for a lot of things. But for me and my own personal use, I want it to be absolutely clean. I don't want the software selling to my customer or anything like that. I just want it to be a portal where my customers can go. They can see my branding, they can see my services perhaps, but then they can also submit requests. So I want it to be a very simple service. And the original idea actually came from this guy, which is Design Joy. Forgot his actual name. Maybe I'll look him up in a little bit, but he got famous a while back because he was offering unlimited design. But the caveat to unlimited design is that you have to have it one request at a time, and it's an average 48-hour delivery. So that was managed through a Trello board, right? I had a call with him. He told me about his systems, and it works, right? It works. Obviously, this guy was making like a large amount of money at one point. I don't know if it was exactly 6 figures a month, but I think it was close. But he was like blowing people away, making millions per year just doing design at this rate. Obviously, he had to work a lot, but his system here was the most sustainable he could think of, and it makes sense. So that's what I'm going to build today on Bolt, okay? It's going to be very simple. Again, quick and dirty MVP just to get things off the ground. And now that we've talked about like the ideation, the instructions here should be clear. The biggest thing I can do is set a strong foundation, and then we can make small adaptations. That's the idea. So let's go for it here. I'm going to use my voice to record. We are going to make a single page portal. That portal will have 3 columns. The 3 columns will resemble a Trello board. The first column will say new request. The second column will say in progress. The third column will say done. Within these columns will be individual tasks. They will be individual boxes. The user will be able to click and drag a box from left to right. There will be a main headline, a sub-headline, and then these 3 columns, and that is it. All right, So we one-shotted it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, got the AirPods in. We got the vibe going. All right, so this is not bad. This is not bad at all. This is almost exactly what I want. Obviously, I went at dark mode, just classic. And then, let's see. Oh, yeah, this is beautiful. So the plan is to make a webhook go off every time one of these moves over, and then that'll send me an email. It looks like it's kind of messing up a little bit on that. Maybe if I publish it, it'll be a little bit better. But that being said, there's that. Task management portal, organize your workflow in an intuitive drag, drop, task border. Okay, so there's not much that I actually want to do to edit it within the MVP. I know it kind of works already, but I am going to do some small stuff just to minimize what I have to do over in Cursor. So this is like refinement. Okay, this is the fundamental bones are there. I just need to have like the other. Well, actually, I'm kind of missing some bones here, which is adding the task. There's not really like a plus sign or anything like that, right? So that's what we need to do. Let's add a plus button to add a task. That will default to new request. Okay. Pay attention to the size of the prompt that I did, right? One button that is actually going to have some functionality behind it, right? If this was like change the headline and then change the colors and then do something else visually, it'd be safe to do that stuff. But if you're prompting like a functional thing, then you want to make sure that, see, task creation functionality. If you're doing a functional thing, you just want to give it a beat. You don't give it a single prompt on its own so that you can make sure that it works exactly as you like it. And then you can do the more complex stuff. So this is not bad, but you know, a couple things here just on a designer front. Like I want this to be a little cleaner. I don't want this white box, and then I want this all to be in dark mode. So let me do a couple of visual changes here all at once. And like I said, those are the ones that you can do safely. All right, so let me show you what we did here. We did a couple of visual ones, like changing the text up top, the subheadline, and then changing the whole thing to app to dark mode. So nothing really broke here, so awesome stuff. Just a good example there. Now, what we're gonna do here is, yeah, I kind of just want like this, I just want to go for like this super simple feel, but also like, think of like the movie like Interstellar. There's like this like grandness to it, you know? I'm thinking in terms of like UI, kind of UX now. Like I want someone to hop on here and be like, oh wow, this guy built a very simple thing, and I'd like something like this for X situation, right? It's not necessarily that we're trying to like get people to ask us to build portals, but it's just like the more things you can go through to do this, you never know. Someone might have a same exact need as you, and if you build this and then you have a customer or a client that like sees this, and then you build it for them, and then you release it as this whole thing to the broader market, like there could be a chance, man. So that is the best beta test. People paying you for that. So that being said, I want to perk up the view here so that it can have that like impressiveness. There's this look now. I don't know if you can tell, but there's this look now of like bolt MVPs, and I want to. It's fine in the beginning, but I want to get away from that. So let me see if this thing has like fonts and if it can accomplish what I want it to do visually here. All right, we're getting a little cleaner here, I'm going to do a couple more things just to give it that real like deep tone. It's got some of the stuff that I like, but I want it to have like a deeper tone. Let's see if I can do that for us here. All right, so I got it to a place where I'm not mad about it. Change some fonts, change some colors, keep that simple. And right now it's kind of working, but it's to the point where I'm happy with exporting it into Cursor. As far as when I make that decision, really it comes down to the functionality. And what I want to do is expand on this thing here, and then expand on this kind of smoothing out a little bit. It takes a little bit of kind of clicking back and forth and stuff like that. And this is where I just want to take it into the main area and then start to work on it from there. So for the most part, central idea is there. Core MVP, if you will, is there. And that is the purpose of Bolt, right? Now for polishing it off and making sure that it's good. And now pretty soon after, we're going to have to start talking about sending, webhooks, and then potentially like a database. I don't know if I'm going to do a database on this one. It might just be a simple webhook over to my email, and then just seeing like the functionality expanded from there. But for the most part, this is an MVP. This is what I look for out of an MVP. Can it do what it should do as like the core function, right? This is presentable to a client. You can take this to a client. It took me all of maybe 2 hours, less than that, and I was stopping and starting because of this filming. And I can take this to a client, and then I can tell them that this is going to be a couple $1,000s, right? Anywhere in the range of $3,000 all the way to $6,000 if it had more complexity to it. And if you wanted to get something under your belt, you could do it for $1,500 and then call it a day. But that being said, like 2 hours of this will get you a new contract, and then potentially much more down the road, because what happens is a lot of clients see this stuff, they get excited, and then they want to add features. And this is where the scoping becomes important. But that's a topic for another conversation. For right now, this is an MVP. If you want to deliver an MVP, get it to something like this where it shows the main functionality, and then we move into Cursor to really polish it up and then iron out the details. Hell yeah. So hope you liked the video. Hope you did something good with it. Hope you actually put it into practice. And if you like this content, you want to get some more education, go ahead and check out the school. It's going to be in the link in the description. But this is us, Vibe Code Cowboys, all right? We're going to be on the forefront. We're going to be doing this stuff that people are talking about. We're going to be doing it, okay? So if you want to come along, make some money, have some fun, talk AI, talk money, talk business, and then just continuously get better over time, come join us. We'd love to have you.